Today we're in beautiful Bodø, Arctic Norway to visit the headquarters of the little airline that keeps Norway moving. Yep, you guessed it, it's Widerøe, the Dash 8 and Embraer E2 operator that flies in and around some of the most spectacular scenery on Earth. And this is their center of operations, fittingly ringed by gorgeous Arctic mountains. It houses their operations control center, training facilities for ground and cabin crew, some basic simulators, and multiple hangars where some very interesting work is being done to keep these Dash 8s flying. Here we have a very special life extension program ongoing for some of the oldest airframes to allow them to fly beyond their originally certified number of pressurization cycles. We'll take a look at all that and more coming right up. Welcome to Bodø, Norway, just above the Arctic Circle and the Widerøe headquarters here. This is a fun one because I've flown Widerøe before but never done any videos with them, and we're kicking off a little series here. Today we're not flying, but we're checking out the headquarters here and some very interesting work they're doing on the Dash 8s to extend their lives, to make them fly longer, because they're really still the best thing up here for the kind of flying they need to do. There really isn't a replacement at the moment, so they need these planes to fly much longer. So we're gonna see how they're doing that. And then tomorrow, we're gonna take the famous milk run along the north coast over to Kirkenes, almost to the Russian border, in the jump seat on the Dash 8. Some more flying coming up after that. So let's head inside, check out what Widerøe has going on here in Bodø at its headquarters, get a little insight into their operations here in Bodø, and see how they're keeping these Dash 8s flying for many more years of dependable Arctic far north service, the kind of flying we love. It's probably just as well I accidentally recorded this simulator session in hyperlapse mode because I really botched the landing twice. Not my best moment in the simulator.
The flare at the end,
Yeah.
You have to kind of arrest the descent with the power a lot. Especially in the 400. The 400, you can't enter a proper flare because the tail will be quite close to the runway.
Okay.
The Classic's a lot better. You can flare that almost like a Cessna.
They don't have proper full motion simulators here in Bodø, but these are used for familiarization with the aircraft, including for ground crew who may have to move the aircraft on the ground. This way they can get comfortable with the aircraft enough to understand how it all works in a basic sense. They also have a much simpler setup with a VR headset for that purpose. It's a pretty interesting experience.
Gaming computer.
Yeah.
And that's basically, these aren't too expensive, and the virtual reality aren't that expensive anymore, so it's not so bad. The problem now is we can't use the controllers on screen or with the VR, so it's kind of limited.
Okay.
But it's with the VR.
Okay.
But as you saw, you can see everything.
Let's go check out what else they have in this building via a series of confusing tunnels.
Emergency equipment, put it in the right place. Yeah. This one, DC Dash 7, serial number 2, on jacks.
Really?
Built to mimic Dash 8.
Cool.
Already a couple of passengers. And here we do fire training and hijack training and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. When smoke, and we also have a local fire that we can put out.
Oh wow.
It's electric, so.
I mean, I've been in here simulating and hijack once. I never remember one of the flight attendants whom I meet quite often. She's a soft, gentle spoken, really sweet lady. And I was sitting in here, and all of a sudden she was like, "Bend forward, protect your head." She was like going bananas, and I, whatever, I'm gonna do whatever she says. So here we welcome everything from prime ministers to people from the government who's visiting the facilities. A lot of people.
Always come here.
Yeah, they always come here.
Huh.
You don't want to experience a fire on an actual aircraft. If
Right.
you can do it here, and you know that how much training goes into our cabin attendants and pilots and technicians.
Yeah.
You kind of calm down.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And of course you get to get familiar with all these different things that are available. We just had our anniversary in 19th February.
Okay, just now, yeah.
90 years.
Congrats.
Quite an airline.
That is up there among the oldest, right?
I think that's among the oldest. Okay, so let's do the hangars.
Okay.
Cup in, I guess that would be, there's bowling. There should be a lot of soccer in here, a lot of skiing in here. Apparently even more bowling.
Yeah, quite a bit of bowling.
Cross country. I mean, we're 3,500 employees now, counting both the technical division as well as the ground handling. So it's started to become quite a huge aviation company,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah,
right?
right.
And this is our founder. Yep. So Bodø is 1 out of 5 in total.
Yeah.
This is where we do the heavy maintenance mostly. We also have in Tromsø, we have in Bergen, we have in Sandefjord, and we also have a facility at Florø, which is on the west coast of Norway. So what we're entering right now, that's where they do the lineman maintenance. Basically overnight and all the smaller, the shorter kind of things, as well as the HX. So we do have an HX present right now. In fact, I believe this one just came in yesterday.
Ah.
And so they're gonna do whatever. I don't know, I could give it to you how often the HX when they come in here, but that's where they do the maintenance with the shift. Having 5 different shifts to work in this aircraft 24/7.
Do they clean them as soon as they bring them in? Because they look so...
Oh, they don't actually.
Oh, how do they look so perfect?
Well, I don't know. It's been raining maybe? It's an S, which indicates it's a 200
Ah, yeah, that's
within
good
the
to know.
Widerøe family. So LN, Norway, WSA,
Yeah,
English. The
that's-
other one is I, that's
I.
100.
Okay.
Okay. So India is a 100, Sierra is a
India
200.
100.
Have less hours, less cycles than the other aircraft, which means we can. I don't even know when this one has to do a life extension program because these are fairly. I mean, these are the babies, right?
Wow, that's cool.
So we still acquire this new other 100s.
Yeah.
Because we're hoping that eventually the technology will take us there where we can have, when it comes to the fossil-free airlines.
Yeah.
So what we're doing right now, we do still acquire from time to time aircrafts with less landings,
Yeah, of course.
less cycles that we can put into our fleet. I believe World War II, on the propeller aircrafts, on the hangar ships, they had stripes, and they did this to avoid birds.
Okay.
When the propeller is spinning, it makes some kind of image that to the bird's eye is something they want to avoid.
I see,
right?
yeah.
So we just did this, I don't know, this is just a request. Let's say 10 years ago we started doing this. What we do on the classic fleet, but we're not doing on the Q400, just to make sure this really works, so we have something to compare it up against. So we do this stripe on the propellers, and what we see is that actually have less bird strikes on the aircrafts that have striped propellers.
Wow.
Which is on the Dash 100, 200, and 300s.
So it really worked.
It really works, yes. So that's the reason why they're striped. Looks kind of cool as well. Especially in the winter season, a lot of icing conditions. We
Yeah.
need to remove the ice from the propeller area. So what it does, when you can see on this part of the aircraft, we have an extra set.
You get the ice flying at
because
the
the ice
fuselage.
flying. You cannot see it on this one, but I'm going to take you to one of the aircrafts later on. You'll see, looks like it's been through a war. I mean, it's like, it looks like it's been shooting on it. It's just ice. So if you actually have a window seat during the winter season, that is ice and conditions, you're going to hear that hitting the aircraft. It makes quite a band. So we have some extra protection to the aircraft on this side. Welcome to the Northern Hemisphere, right?
Yeah.
Basically the Goodnight or whatever aircraft, right? So this one is going through the life extension program to extend from 80,000 cycles going up to 120,000 cycles. Usually it takes about, I would say, 3 months. We did up to 16 aircrafts up until 2016. And we were, at the end, we were down to using maybe 10 weeks. So this is the first one since 2016 that we're doing from 80,000 and extending it to 120,000.
Wow.
Quite an extensive thing to do.
We're here now in one of the hangars here in Bodø where they're doing the life extension and heavy maintenance here. This aircraft that I'm standing up basically at the level of the tail, this aircraft is undergoing its life extension from 80,000 cycles to 125,000 cycles. And that, they were telling me, involves roughly 14 years worth of work if it were to be one individual doing it. So thousands of hours, all these components checked, taken out, cleaned, replaced, you name it, just thousands of different little details to take care of, to look at, to make sure everything is perfect, and ensuring that this aircraft can fly for many more flights, many more years in this environment where it is so well suited, where they really need these aircraft, because there's nothing right now that can replace what these Dash 8s do. So impressive to see what's happening here, and also just getting a look at one of these aircraft in this state, the way we don't normally see them. And so impressive how everything gets taken apart, everything gets put back together, and it's basically a brand new aircraft in many ways. And here we're up on this platform that has us at the level of this big T-tail. And these look like small aircraft when you see them out on the tarmac. You don't realize just how high up these tails are. It is incredible, and what a cool perspective always to see an aircraft from here. I've done it before with some others, none quite as impressive as this. Kind of makes you think the Dash 8 should really have a tail cam, kind of like the A350, mounted up here. Especially in this part of the world, imagine what that would look like, the scenery with this beautiful aircraft and its big props. That would be great.
I don't think it's smart to take an aircraft this much apart unless you have the back sheet metal boys and avionics to be here within minutes, you know, to solve a problem. Because if you have to ship people, I don't think it would be a good idea to tear down an aircraft this much. But we do it all the time, so it's a lot of work, but it's just you start in one end and then you'll finish eventually. So this has been in for 5 months, but you don't have to use 5 months on this check. Maybe 3 months is more of a normal, because we did 80Ks 10 years ago also. Then we started with like 16 weeks, and then we got it down to like 12 weeks, which is 3 months. So the two biggest pieces that will give you a headache when the aircraft starts to get old is fuselage and wiring. So the avionics, all the bundles have been split, and every wire has been looked at and cleaned and rebundled again. So because chafing damage after 30 years of operation is likely. So that's why the Canadian, they tell us to take it all apart. And that's also just a couple of thousand man hours, maybe 2,500 man hours, just for the avionics to be inspected in the entire aircraft. But that gives you less trouble when you put it back to service. because these are the kind of faults that will appear when an aircraft is 30 years old, and also metal fatigue. But we did some x-rays and we do some non-destructive testing also on components. And on this aircraft we have had a huge job between the fuselage and the wing construction, probably 8 weeks of work. So some unserviceable parts. So this door has been taken apart. You can see that the brand new parts inside. So when you get this back into service again, you have a door that works for several years. This is a piece that goes up and down several times a day, and it's not a problem to have it to last a long time. But now when we take it apart like this, it will be, you'll get service life out of it afterwards. But we replaced some of the structure between the wing box and the fuselage. And all of the wiring, as you see like this, is they cut the zip ties and they inspect each one and then also clean each one. And that's done on the entire aircraft. So 2,500 man hours just for inspections. Bundles will be cut open and checked. And also, of course, when we put it together, there will be a huge testing that needs to be performed to get it back to service. So avionic tests, hydraulic tests, engine tests, and a check flight also. Due to the amount of work that's been done, you have a check flight also before it's put back into service. And here you also can see new structural parts around the door. Probably because of corrosion, might be chafing or wear. That's the kind of jobs that now you have the time, because that's probably never been changed. So that will probably last 30 years, that new structure around the air stir door.
These classic Dash 8s are excellent in the tricky weather up here. They handle icing like champions, and they can operate to exceptionally short runways like it's no big thing. There's a reason when you go up north, you'll often see these aircraft, and they're no longer being made. Meanwhile, they're getting old, and with nothing to replace them, that presents a dilemma for Wideroe's operations. For that reason, they're just about to start putting some of the oldest aircraft through a second life extension, this time to 160,000 cycles.
It's going to be moved, shifted over. They're going to extend the runway. They're going to take the runway right now, remove it, and move it further that way, the military facility. For the time being, we're going to still be here with a taxiing runway going over to the facility. Eventually, I don't know what's going to happen, but the city is going to evolve.
Standing now in a third hangar here at Bodø, and this aircraft behind me is Whiskey India Bravo. It's a Dash 8-100. It's actually the highest cycle airframe in the Widerøe fleet. And this Dash 8 here is awaiting the final go-ahead to start the process of extending its life one more time. So it's already had the first extension that we're seeing the other aircraft get done 10 years ago. It is now sitting at around 120,000 cycles, and the new extension will take it up to a potential lifespan of 160,000. So this is new territory completely. This has never been done before, and this will be the first aircraft to receive this extension and be able to fly for yet more years, many more years of reliable service up here in the north of Norway. Really impressive, really cool to see these veteran aircraft, and not only have they flown successfully this far, they're going to keep doing it. And that's largely because there really isn't an obvious replacement. It's just the perfect aircraft for this environment, and they're working on trying to figure out what's next, but nothing is the obvious choice yet. What's interesting about Widerøe and other northern Dash 8 operators is they may be at the forefront of adopting the next generation of aircraft technology that's coming down the line. Whether it's electric, hydrogen, or hybrid aircraft. They have short sectors, need smaller aircraft, and they tend to have renewable energy in the area as well. So in many ways, it's ideally suited to this next generation of aircraft. There are many challenges as well, though. For instance, how do you keep an electric aircraft charged when it's doing a dozen 20-minute sectors in a day with 10-minute turnarounds? In any case, this is very much a space to watch. Last stop, let's head to the OCC, the nerve center for the entire Widerøe operation. And like in so many OCCs, we have Flight Radar 24 up on the wall with a filter set for company aircraft. The perfect companion to the rest of the software here because it gives you the entire operation at a glance. At the moment, NATO members are gearing up to do some joint military exercises in the area. So over here, one of their primary tasks is working out what airspace restrictions will exist as a result of that and how that might affect routings for Widerøe flights.
Well, it's not the best map, but this is from Bodø area all the way up to the east part of Finnmark.
Oh wow, okay.
Close to the Russian border.
Yeah. So
and this is the east part where we have regulations when it comes to routings and things like that.
mm-hmm.
And this side we also use the Eurocontrol. For example, we fly co-chair for Finnair.
Mm-hmm.
We have this flight from Tromsø to Helsinki. As you see here, that's what we call flexible use of airspace is military activity. On this the flight from Tromsø to Helsinki, we were not involved, but we have a lot of flights today from Tromsø to Bergen and vice versa,
Yeah.
which go into these areas, and then we have to reroute the flight. Yeah, that's right. And we are allowed to fly under and over, but we don't like to have these military guys even over or under us. We have a little corridor here, and it goes straight through this area. But when this is active, this is Andøya area, and this is Bodø, and close to the Swedish border here. We have this corridor we have to file within. Of course, we will see a lot of new areas coming up, and we will have new restrictions to handle, which we are not doing every day.
Right.
But we have all the information we need, and to be honest, the Norwegian military, they are very good in give us the right proposals for alternative routings.
All right, nice little visit with Widerøe, checking out some Dash 8s in the hangar and some other things. And they told me there's an aviation museum at the other end of the runway, straight down this way, about 2 kilometers. So I think I'm gonna walk that because, as they put it, this is like a nice summer's day for Bodø. It's not too cold. It's not snowing or sleeting on me, so yeah, let's see how it goes. A little windy though. In Bodø for Flight Radar 24, I'm Gabe Leigh.